The last one and very important one is the rhizosphere effect. Already told you, in rhizosphere there are so many microorganisms are there. Why they came? To utilize the root exudates, right? So what is the effect? And that means up to what extent this rhizosphere effect was there. Up to what extent the rhizosphere effect was there. For suppose if you take this as a root, up to what extent the effect of these root exudates was there? Up to either 1 centimeter or at 5 centimeters or 10 centimeters. Up to what extent? And it implies, at the same time it implies the beneficial points for the plant or any harmfulness to the plant also. So we have to know about the rhizosphere effect. I am telling you very simply, Nana, if you are interested to know about this rhizosphere, there is a lot of matter. You can go through your reference books, right? So now I am telling you very simply, rhizosphere effect. Rhizosphere effect means the effect of the rhizosphere around the root. The effect of rhizosphere around the root. That means how many microorganisms are there around the root. So it is only reflects the amount of root exudates giving by that root, right? And that means simply I already told you an example, right? How much sugar is there, that much ants also will be there. If you disperse a sugar all the room around, there will definitely so many ants will be there. In the same sense, maybe it may be possible in sometimes or not. Don't mind that. I am just giving a small simple example. So if there are root exudates in much more quantity, absolutely there will be microorganisms abundance was there around the root. That means in the rhizosphere area. In the same sense, in vice versa, in the normal soil, definitely there will be a less number of microorganisms comparative to this rhizosphere area. So this comparativeness will be, this rhizosphere effect is shown in the form of R:S ratio. R:S ratio, that means the number of microorganisms present in the rhizosphere to the number of microorganisms present in the soil. It is known as the R:S ratio. Already told you. So in which area microorganisms are more in number? Ultimately in the rhizosphere area. In rhizosphere area the number of microorganisms is high, and in the general soil apart from the rhizosphere, in the normal soil the number of microorganisms will be very less. Not less, it was in a common number, but in the rhizosphere area the number of microorganisms is very increased number is there. Okay, so this RS ratio, if we see the RS ratio for different microorganisms, for the algae and protozoa, the RS ratio is mostly 2:1 or 3:1. That means if two algae are there or two protozoa are there in the rhizosphere region, only one organism is there in the general soil. But if you come for the fungi, the RS ratio is 0. Why so, ma'am? Why it was 0 means these root exudates are not affect the fungal growth in the soil. They are in common number whether in the rhizosphere area or in the non-rhizosphere area. So there is no difference, hence the ratio is 0. And when you come for the bacteria, so in case of bacteria, the rhizosphere RS ratio, rhizosphere effect was much more, and it is the 10:1. That means in the rhizosphere area, if a bacteria are in 10 number, in the general soil their number is 1. So the RS ratio of bacteria is 10:1, and the RS ratio of a protozoa or actinomycetes or algae, it is the 2:1 to 3:1, and the RS ratio of fungi is 0. Rhizosphere effect means the effect of the rhizosphere on the microorganisms present in that area. It is known as the rhizosphere effect. And one more thing, so what is the effect of this rhizosphere on plant? Till now we know that these root exudates are utilized by the microorganisms and they will survive. Hence only those organisms came to the this rhizosphere area and they are utilizing that root exudates and they are feeling well. Then what about the plant? Is there any useful thing for plant, or is there any harmfulness for the plant? Let us see harmful effects and beneficial effects. So if we first we have to see the beneficial effects, right? There are many beneficial effects for the plant. So the microorganisms which are surrounded by the root, they will produce plant growth stimulating substances, and they are also helpful for the nutrients uptake. Why? Because they also produce some organic acids. Not only the root, microorganisms also produces some organic acids which will those microorganisms produces the organic acids, and that organic acids will what it will happen, they will participate in the mineralization and they will make the nutrients in the available state for the plants. అంటే ప్లాంట్స్ తీసుకోగలిగేటువంటి స్టేట్లో మినరల్స్ని మారుస్తాయి. అలా చేయటం ద్వారా ప్లాంట్స్కి న్యూట్రియంట్స్ అనేవి ఎక్కువగా అందుతాయి. ఓకే, ద ఆర్గానిక్ యాసిడ్స్ ఏవైతే మైక్రో ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేస్తున్నాయో ఆ ఆర్గానిక్ యాసిడ్స్ అనేవి న్యూట్రియంట్స్ని ప్లాంట్స్కి అవైలబుల్గా మారుస్తాయి నాన్న. ఆ తర్వాత వచ్చేసి ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ ద ప్లాంట్ గ్రోత్ ప్రమోటింగ్ హార్మోన్స్ or substances, just like indole acetic acid, gibberellins, right? So these substances are also produced by some microorganisms which are present in the rhizosphere. And the next one, immobilized nutrients. You know that in some drought areas or in some areas where there is a very less rains, in that area, in that soil, the nutrients are very less. In such conditions, these microorganisms will make the nutrients are immobilized nutrients, and they makes the nutrients available for the plant. And the final one, they will restrict the toxic substances. So sulfur is one of the toxic substance which was harmful to the plant. So these sulfur substances are restricted by the microorganisms, and it will what it will do means it restricts the reaching of this sulfur to the plant roots. By that it will saves the plant. So these are the beneficial effects. And also one more thing, by the antagonistic nature, that means so plant చుట్టూ ఉన్నటువంటి ఎక్సుడేట్స్ మొత్తాన్ని ఈ మైక్రో ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ యూజ్ చేసుకుంటున్నప్పుడు దే కాంట్ ఎలో అనదర్ వన్ to join with them, right? So by that it do not allow any pathogen to affect the root. If a pathogen wants to destroy the root, first it has to cross this rhizosphere. It was very hard. Why? Because the pathogen don't get any food from the plant roots, because all these rhizosphere organisms are gaining food, right? So these pathogen don't get the food. By that most of the pathogens are restricted by these rhizosphere. చాలా వరకు కూడా ఇవే అడ్డుకుంటాయి. If there is any pathogen which was most powerful, that one only will enters the root. So this is also one of the important usefulness of the rhizosphere. Okay, finally we have to know about the harmful effects. Harmful effects lo chusinattlaithe the O2, so there may be some microorganisms which are aerobic. These aerobic organisms will utilize the O2 and they will release the CO2. By increasing this CO2 tension, what it was happened means root elongation అనేది రెడ్యూస్ అయిపోయే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. దాని ద్వారా ప్లాంట్ ఎదుగుదల తగ్గిపోతుంది. It will reduce the plant growth. And the final one is the so I already told you it may decrease the toxic substances effect on the root, but sometimes the microorganism itself releases the toxins which are harmful for the plants. అంటే అది ఆపటం అనేది జరిగితే కొన్నిసార్లు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఆర్గానిజమే కొన్ని టాక్సిన్స్ని ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేస్తుంది. ఆ టాక్సిన్సే ప్లాంట్కి హార్మ్ఫుల్ అయిపోతాయి. జస్ట్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫైటోటాక్సిన్స్ అని అంటారు. ఓకే నాన్న. సో I already told you, once again I am repeating, బెనిఫిషియల్ ఎఫెక్ట్స్ ఏమేంటి అంటే ప్లాంట్ గ్రోత్ స్టిమ్యులేటింగ్ సబ్స్టెన్సెస్ని, ప్లాంట్ గ్రోత్ ప్రమోటింగ్ సబ్స్టెన్సెస్ని ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేస్తాయి. అండ్ దే విల్ హెల్ప్ఫుల్ ఫర్ న్యూట్రియంట్స్ అప్టేక్ అండ్ దే విల్ ఇమ్మొబిలైజ్ ద న్యూట్రియంట్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ హెల్ప్ఫుల్ ఫర్ a plant in drought conditions, and they will restrict the toxic substances to reach the plant, and they will also resist the pathogenic organisms to reach the root. And harmful effects చూసినట్లయితే, and they will increase the CO2 tension. By that what it was happened, it will reduce the root elongation. It is one of the important harmful effect. And one more thing, it will releases some toxins such as phytotoxins which are harmful for the plant. Okay Nana, so this is the rhizosphere total topic. I told you very briefly. Don't mind, I will explain much more deeply about this topic in coming videos. Thank you very much Nana.